Hello, and welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. Today, I am joined by my fellow co-host, Logan Brewer.
What's up, boys?
Connor.
Hello.
Jay.
What's up?
And Liam.
Hi.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Not
When I
much.
kill myself, sorry.
Great way to start an episode.
Well, don't worry, I have a way for you to do that. Because, guys, after talking to some of my, let's just say redneck coworkers, I have come to realize something.
What is that?
That I am feeling really American today, and I'm wanting to just embrace it.
What exactly do you mean by that?
By using my neutral special, gun.
Oh my god, that's a Persona reference! Alright, then I guess we should all use the power of our inner Americans and embrace it by talking about some single-player shooters. Welcome to today's topic, guys. We're going to be talking about some single-player shooters. No, we are not covering COD campaigns, because we do not give a fucking shit about that.
All my homies hate COD.
Yeah,
Fuck
we're
Call of
haters.
Duty. All my homies hate Call of Duty.
Yeah, so we thought it'd be really fun to talk about some Call of Duty, because obviously we love Call of Duty. I'm kidding. We're talking about some single-player shooters. Just give some, like, there's a lot of, like, different games in the single-player genre, and it's a very interesting genre because, like, there's such a variety of it, if that makes sense. Because, like, compare, like, Doom Eternal to, like, I want to say Resident Evil, and you're gonna have stuff that's very similar, but also stuff that's, like, very different. And they are technically in, like, that same genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, let's define exactly what a single-player shooter is. So,
Alright, so first thing, you don't play with other people.
well, yes.
You have
I
no
know.
friends.
No, big shit, Sherlock.
I know, just it's a divine revelation.
Second,
Friendship is
you
meaningless when you
shoot
have-
people.
Friendship is meaningless when you have Resident Evil 4.
And you have Leon
Friendship
in your
ended
life.
people. Now Resident Evil 4 is my best friend.
So true. Yeah, so
I
pretty
don't
much
need
it's just...
I don't need conversations with my friends when Leon will give me all the one-liners I need.
So true.
Oh my god. But yeah, essentially, like, a single-player shooter is just that, like, if you use any sort of, like, projectile, I want to say, like, it'd be classified as a shooter, and if it's by yourself, wow, it's a single-player. That's crazy!
If you embrace your inner American and use a gun in first person, then that's what we're talking. Or not even the first person, even a third person, just using a gun.
Jay,
Mainly
Embracing-
you're single and you're shooting stuff.
Yes.
That is what it means to be an American.
America.
I'm only one of those things. I am single, but I do not shoot stuff, so, well, shit.
Don't worry, you're still American though, because we don't know what the fuck a kilometer is.
What is a kilometer?
Yeah, my
Guys,
dick
I'm
is
t-
3 millimeters. That's bigger than
Guys, I'm telling you, standard is better than metric, even though everyone uses metric.
Jesus
America.
Christ. But yeah,
We don't use none of that Celsius shit around here.
we're
What the
getting,
fuck
getting
is-
back on
Yeah, for the last thing I think we could do to define it is, an actual campaign. The game isn't just multiplayer. I'm looking at you, Overwatch.
Lamau.
Hey, to be fair, it's supposed to have a campaign, but Blizzard.
Oh,
kinda said-
Overwatch 2 has been just shooting itself in the foot multiple times. There is no
Shooting.
defense for that game,
It hasn't been shooting itself in the foot, it's been shooting itself in the skull.
along with the foot.
Like, you can't-
Overwatch 2 is like a very interesting story because like there was
they fumbled the bag so hard.
there's so much that went into it, but it was all for nothing. And it was crazy.
Miguel O'Hara came in to make them fumble that baddie.
I'd
Literally,
fuck Miguel O'Hara. What?
literally all they did from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2 was reskins and new maps.
And
All
then
they-
like one new hero.
Well, let's go.
Oh, and then they changed it from like 6v6 to 5v5.
And tons of broken promises. It's awful. Like, I would honestly play Overwatch 1 more than Overwatch 2.
But they shut it down.
A free update. So, you can't even play the better game.
I would
Shoutouts
just
to
rather not
Activision
play
Blizzard.
Overwatch.
Shoutouts to Activision Blizzard for being my absolute favorite developers. That's a joke, by the way. I do not support sexual harassment. It is very bad.
Have you seen a little meme? It's like every time they feel like, or every time the allegations keep coming up, they release a new character or something.
Oh, no, yeah, I've seen that.
Oh my god.
Human rights violation, new gay character.
Real. But
Guys, Genji is gay. Blizzard, I'm gonna be real with you. That doesn't help us ignore the sexual the sexual harassment allegations.
Lamau.
But yeah, that's the biggest difference. There's an actual single player campaign as the main focus, and it doesn't revolve just around playing with other people.
So true.
Yeah, we all play with ourselves here.
Hell yeah.
Dude, that's my favorite thing to do.
I'm gonna take that out of context so much.
That was
But,
that was the joke.
Good.
But yeah, getting back on topic, we're essentially just going to talk about like some games in this genre, like some we've handpicked ourselves, and give like a basic rundown of the games, and why do we like them? Why do we love them? Because it's a very different genre. Like it is something that's like kind of, I don't want to say plagued or not even plagued. That's more of a multiplayer thing. It's very much like been a part of the gaming industry for a while now. But it's also like it's hard to appreciate it because there's so much of it, if that makes sense.
Well, I feel like also it always gets overshadowed by the multiplayer games because those usually bring in the sales, even though
Exactly.
COD is shit. It's
Like
garbage.
Doom Eternal is so much better than
Because,
like COD Vanguard.
Dude, more people have played Overwatch 2 than Doom Eternal. I can almost guarantee that.
That is really sad considering like Doom Eternal is probably the best FPS shooter ever made. I'm not even gonna joke about that.
Yeah, it deserved its spot in Game of the Year nominees.
But it lost The Last of Us 2.
There's a lot of good games that lost to The Last of Us 2.
But yeah,
Undeservingly. may I
Guys, don't
say.
worry. They're going to
Do we,
re-release Last of Us 2, so that way it has another chance at Game of the Year.
I cannot believe they're still re-releasing. That is so dumb.
we should
Hey,
talk
Guy.
about some games.
Yeah, Guy, how about you go first? Just
All right.
get the wheels rolling.
All right, I'm down. All right, so this is a game that got remastered recently for the Switch. No shit. No
Pikmin.
Pikmin.
Yep. Pikmin's my favorite shooter. No shit. This game got fucking released on my birthday, and I couldn't have God is real. Okay. I'm kidding. Well, okay, I am Christian, but I'm not gonna put my religious things on anyone.
I was about to say, the back of my head, wait, isn't he Christian?
No, I know I'm
Yeah.
Christian. I'm just not gonna put like I'm not gonna have like religious authority or anything. I'm not gonna say.
We're talking about video games.
Yeah, we're talking about video games. Okay, back on topic.
Guy is bad at talking about video games.
Real.
He's
Metroid
also
Prime-
bad talk.
Jesus.
Metroid Prime remaster. So, this game came out on February 8th, which is my birthday, which was also it got shadow dropped from a Nintendo Direct. Like, they literally announced it was coming to Switch as a remaster, and they're like, oh, hey, you can buy this, like, right now for $40. And I was like, what? There's
That's how
no... Say what?
that's how Nintendo works, baby.
So true. It's such a weird shadow drop thing, too. Like, they've been doing that recently with, like, remasters. Like, recently they had a Direct where they announced they're reporting Pikmin 1 and 2 for Switch, which are out right now. And
Again, best shooter. I love when Olimar pulled out the Glock Pikmin.
so true.
As someone who has played Pikmin 1 and 2, that's a true statement.
Olimar has done some war crimes. Like, I'm actually being serious. Like, if you look through the Pikmin 2 logs, like, that motherfucker has done some shit.
Don't even talk about his Smash Bros. History.
So true. But, back to Metroid Prime. What exactly is Metroid Prime? Well, Metroid Prime was the first 3D take on a Metroid game. Previously, they were 2D Metroidvanias, which is, that's where the name comes from. Metroid, Castlevania, Metroidvania. So it's like, it was one of those, like, first games in the genre that really, like, cemented itself. And what exactly is a Metroidvania? Well, I'm so glad you asked. No one asked. But it's essentially
What's a Metroidvania?
You're put into like this huge map where parts of it are locked off, where you have to unlock the areas by collecting different power-ups throughout the map, and it incentivizes exploration to create progress. And a good Metroidvania is one that keeps you exploring on and on again and having good pace when learning the power-ups. A good example of this would be like obviously the Metroid games, Castlevania, Hollow Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest, etc. But Metroid Prime was the first take on a 3D Metroid game. And it is actually, I want to say, it's about like, what, 12 or 16 hours long? It's around there.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's actually a first-person game. So they do like you wouldn't think it would work because the Metroid games were 2D. They were very layered. They were very like complex with their level design. So you'd think it wouldn't work for a 3D environment, but it does. And because it's like a new perspective, like with first person, and it's a 3D game, you are given so much like that's different. Like in the normal Metroid games, there's like speed power-ups and whatnot that make you blast through the map. You don't have that in Prime. You have to be like more cautious of the enemies. You have to be aware of your spatial awareness. But I love Metroid Prime solely due to the fact that I'm invested with its atmosphere. Not only that, but I feel rewarded for making little discoveries. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd say that makes sense.
Yeah, but
I mean, that's the key part of what makes a Metroidvania is just exploring, and then like you get something new and you're like, wait a second, what if this works here? It works there, and you're like,
oh my god,
I can explore more.
Holy shit!
That's why Metroidvanias are like my second favorite game genre, because
Dude,
it's
they're
that
so
like, yeah, that sort of like knowledge that now you have something that you can try everywhere is really good. Like I remember when I unlocked the double jump in Hollow Knight, I was like, I can go unlock this now, or I can go unlock this now. It was awesome.
Yeah, so much of the game opens up from like one little thing that you explore, and it incentivizes you to replay, like to go through areas that you've already been through, just to see what you could have missed or what stuff you could have discovered, like a new boss, maybe a new item, a new collectible, etc. And Metroid Prime does that to a degree that it's like the first 3D Metroidvania game. And obviously, like, you can tell it's a GameCube game, like, with the fact that, like, there's not that many collectibles in the game, and it's relatively short, but I still think it's, like, one of the best games that have really come out ever. And honestly, like, it's probably the third best game I've played this year in 2023, with Tears of the Kingdom being first. That's probably my new favorite game, I'm gonna be honest. Resident Evil 4 Remake, and then Metroid Prime Remaster. If you guys like want a very unique take on a first-person shooter, play Metroid Prime. It is $40 on Switch right now. It's beautiful. The remaster is incredible. It's not too long, and you have a lot of cool and good replay value just playing the game again and re-experiencing it. But yeah, that's me on Metroid Prime.
Before you say that, can I say something cool about Metroid Prime?
No, go for it.
So, one thing that's really cool about it first is that, again, it is such a really good take on the Metroid series because it was the first one where it was originally 2D, which I think is sort of like how Breath of the Wild was a really good conversion for the Zelda series.
Oh yeah, being the first like true open world, yeah.
Yeah, because Prime did a similar thing, taking the aspect that they tried to go for and expanding upon it because of new software, but also with a slight genre change, because it being in 3D is so good for exploration.
And they're such different games, but the quality is like the same, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but part of the reason it was also very different is because when it was being developed, originally it wasn't even a Metroid game.
Yo, you're right, I completely forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, was it?
Because it was a game called like Metaforce. Because and around the early 2000s, Miyamoto visited Retro Studios when they were making Metaforce, and then he was like, "Hey, this is kind of similar to this." And Metroid wasn't doing too well at the time, so they were willing to go with fucking anything. As in Miyamoto's case, as long as a game isn't his baby series, he'll let anything happen to that series. So he was like, "Fuck it, make that Metroid game," and they did, and it was good.
All I'm gonna say is that
And that was only a slightly abridged version.
all I'm gonna say is that if Metroid Prime 4 isn't like a fucking masterpiece, I'm gonna be pissed.
Dude, so many people are gonna be mad. That game literally got announced, like, I want to say, like, what, 5 years ago?
At like the beginning of the Switch's
I'm gonna
life.
Google it.
Yeah, and then, like, not just that, but the director, like, I felt so bad for him and, like, the reception I got. He was like, I'm not satisfied with the development of this game, so they scrapped everything and then restarted. And I was like, holy shit.
Wait, they
That is
Metroid
wild,
Prime
but still,
4.
imagine how good it's gonna be in the future.
So
Metroid Prime 4 was announced on June 13th, 2017.
that is fucking crazy.
June 13th, what?
2017.
Wait, so they scrapped the entire thing for it?
No, yeah, they were like 60% of the way through Metroid Prime 4, but the director said he just wasn't satisfied with the product and he wasn't satisfied with like what he was making, so they scrapped the entire thing and then restarted.
Why couldn't they just edit it from what they had?
Well,
Because when the foundation is that different from what you're wanting to get, you can't just like slightly edit it. Sometimes it's better to just throw that out. I mean, they probably didn't throw everything out, like 3D models, assets they had. Those are
some
probably
textures or whatnot,
used.
yeah.
It just wasn't what he envisioned, so he's just like, okay, we're
But
not-
like, my idea is the world itself, because that's the biggest part of a Metroidvania is the world you explore. That probably did get thrown out,
That probably did get thrown.
and that's
Like-
like
like-
one of the biggest parts you have to make.
Like, Jay, imagine this. Like, imagine if, like, midway through Tears of the Kingdom's development, they weren't satisfied with, like, Ultra Hand being the way it was, so they scrapped it all. They scrapped the entirety of Ultra Hand, but
Yeah.
they kept the game the way it is now. It wouldn't work.
yeah, because Ultra needed for many things in that game.
Exactly, so it's the same case with Metroid Prime 4. Let's move on. We've been talking about Metroid Prime way too much. Play it. It's good. It's really, really good.
It is good, but I think there is one that's better that you have mentioned. And this one is basically just the godfather of all the shooters, and it's literally on fucking everything. It's Doom.
Okay, God.
Okay, guy, shut up. You're not good at singing.
Shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Shut,
yeah.
shut up before I rip and tear your throat out.
Okay, Doom is
Perfect.
awesome, but you also need to specify what game because there's Doom and then Doom
That's-
2016.
that's the
and then
thing,
Doom Eternal,
all of
and then
them.
Doom 2, Doom 3.
Guy, I know. I know there's a lot of Doom.
There's
But
a-
first, I just wanted to mention the first one, the original Doom, because even though that one's very basic, it is still a really good game. It is still very easy to go back and play because I beat it and it's good.
Was that the first-person shooter?
No.
You know, there probably was something else, but it's one of those things where, like, you know how Nintendo, technically they weren't the ones who did the first D-pad,
Yeah.
but they're the one who probably executed it the best and popularized it. That's what I would say.
That makes sense. Doom popularized the FPS.
Yeah, there probably was another shooter before Doom, probably some obscure that ran on
Yeah.
like a PC engine, but
There's no.
it's considered the godfather of shooters because of the way it innovated on it, and also just its gameplay was so damn good for the time.
Well, explain it. What is a Doom?
A Doom, you play as a very angry man, and you shoot demons. You rip and tear till it's done. It's simple as that. And also, you're on a revenge mission because they killed your bunny. I'm not even kidding. I'm not
That's
even kidding
canon.
about
Yeah,
that.
that's actually canon.
It's part of the lore.
My bunnies are going to wipe them off the face of the earth.
Honestly,
This guy is
fair.
he's just John Wick, but religious.
But also, he can run off pure anger because he's literally like immortal just because of how angry he is.
Yeah, isn't like the
And
Doomslayer
That's
like
amazing.
he was like born immortal, but I'm pretty sure from like the amount of shit he killed. I think this is real lore that like he's actually like a biblical figure in the Doom universe. Like I'm not even kidding.
Oh,
That
he
is funny.
After playing Eternal, I get that vibe.
Eternal is so good. That's
I
so
love
they're-
Doom Eternal.
Yeah, Doom is such a good series because it has so many gaps. It's like first, it's music. They never missed with its music.
Dude, the music is one of the best parts of the game. It's not even the
did
best,
you-
and it's one of the best.
Yeah, BG1 is iconic from the original Doom, but also when they revamped Doom, because Doom had a little bit of a rough history. Their first games were good. They had Doom 1 and 2, which are still amazing games. Doom 64 was good, but it didn't get too much attention. And Doom 3 it's a good game, but it's very different from the core appeal of what Doom was, because it focused on horror aspects over ripping and tearing and just making you feel like a menace.
Yeah, that's something that that's something I don't hear a lot about Doom. Is that like these are like horrific beasts, like from hell. Like they are much more powerful than the average human. So like it gave you kind of like to me at least, it gives me like kind of a power trip, like killing all these things that are like.
Yeah, even back then when the first game was released, it was pretty gory for the time.
Oh yeah,
Because, like, when
some
you
of the
would-
first blood effects.
Even though it was like pixel sprites, it was like a 2.5D game because it's 2D sprites, but they did really smart programming to make it 3D. Because the programmers for Doom were godly back then, but whenever you shot an enemy, its corpse would still be there, all mangled up.
Dude, that's
and-
crazy for the time that game came out.
Yeah, and I love Doom 2016 is the main one I played. And they took that idea, and usually remakes like those are shitty. Like everyone was thinking it was gonna fail, but they knocked it out of the park. They hit a home run because the gore, they upped it up a notch, and by a notch I mean like 20 damn notches. Because there's so many different ways you can kill the enemies. It's like you stagger them, you run up to them, you can rip their jaw off, you can run behind them, rip their back off, and make them eat it. Or rip their ass off and make them eat their own ass.
You can fuck their ass, then put their ass through their ass.
Doomslayer would probably do that out of pure spite. I'm not even kidding.
They killed
yeah.
my. I'm gonna make you fuck your ass.
Yeah, the atmosphere in that game is great because just everything, it's literally just hell. But even though it's supposed to be scary, you're the fucking Doomslayer. You are the biggest badass in the world. So you're just running through, shooting them with whatever you can find, ripping them apart with your bare hands, and then right in the background, the damn metal music is playing.
The demons fear the Doomslayer like humans fear death. Like it's that bad.
Yeah, when you have the hell spawns fearing you, you've done something right.
Yeah.
Because almost every demon fears the Doomslayer.
Okay, I'm doing some research mid-recording here. Going
Yeah.
back to Doom 3, I think a big reason to why it focused on horror aspects is because of the success of the Resident Evil franchise at this point.
You
'Cause-
always just gotta bring up Resident Evil.
Dude,
Swear to
I
God.
mean, like it's the easiest thing like to go to. Like Doom 2 came out in 1994, then 10 years later was
No, I know,
Doom
but
4.
any time that a game has some aspect of Resident Evil, and you're like, Resident Evil is the basis of everything. It was in the Bible. It inspired everything. It is the way of life.
Yeah.
I'm just being serious. Like it could be like
I-
a legitimate reason to why it could like it focused more on horror.
Could.
Just like edit Guy's face onto a soy jack and have it pointing
Yeah,
at.
I may actually do that. That'd be funny.
Oh my god.
Because if Guy doesn't shut up, in the same way the demons will kick your ass in nightmare mode, I will kick a guy's ass.
Oh, I think
Because
you should
another
tell
the
this
good
story.
thing about Doom is it is unapologetically hard. Now, I mean, they do have some easier difficulties, but if you're not playing Doom on at least normal, you aren't playing Doom right. Because part of it with the difficulty is you feel like a badass for taking on hordes of demons that can kill you in like 2 shots on like nightmare difficulty.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, Doom has, especially the normal mode, is like, it's the right amount of difficulty to where, like, if I die, I died because I was being stupid, but it's also like, I'm engaged constantly because I'm just as powerful as these demons, but they're just as powerful as
Yeah.
me, so it's
Especially
like,
with the
yeah.
variety of weapons, too, because, like, while I do love the original Doom, 2016 always makes me feel like way more of a badass. just because you have all these different options for moving around, and also it does feel a lot more fair because if you try to play Ultra Nightmare on the original Doom, it can be damn near impossible because of random RNG elements. But in 2016, it will kick your ass, but you will learn from it. You'll get up, and then you'll keep ripping and tearing.
So true.
Because you have all these different weapons, you have all these movement options. You're running around. If you stop running, you will die. So you're running around the whole time, just flying around, thinking off the top of your head, what do you got to do next? Because there's like 5 spider demons right behind you, and then there's another Caco demon. You have to feed its own eyeball. So you're always thinking of ways, and once you finally do survive and get through, you're like, holy shit, that was awesome. Because then the music fades out, you're like, man, I just did that. I'm that guy.
Real.
Doom's one of those games I haven't played that I have no reason at all for not playing, because I feel like, I don't know, just that music in Doom, especially the newer ones, it just immerse me instantly, just get me so mindless.
Whenever I have to do a pain in the ass task or something, I will literally put on the damn Doom soundtrack. That, or it is good workout music as well, especially BFG Division.
Mick Gordon snorted cocaine and then made it, and then said, "Let me do it again," and then made an even better soundtrack for Doom Eternal.
They literally said, "Let me cook," and then "Let me cook harder," and then it just worked, and it was awesome.
Yeah, huge props to Mick Gordon because he made probably one of the best game soundtracks of all time.
Oh, undisputedly, it's incredible. It's a really big part of like what makes the game like investing, in my opinion. Not saying that the gameplay isn't investing, it is, but it's just like that extra layer of the music. Oh, when it hits right, it hits perfect.
Oh yeah, there's literally memes for, like when the Doom music hits.
So true.
Yeah. Also, the Doom music keeps you fighting on because I have a funny story to tell with Doom.
Please, I love this story so much.
So Guy knows the story, but I don't think you folks do. So gather around a campfire, make some s'mores.
Sing that campfire song?
No.
Yes.
Sing it with a shotgun, Doomslayer style and American style. But yeah, a very long time ago, and by a very long time I mean probably a year or two, I had wisdom teeth pain, which isn't very fun. So, because it was very bad, I was getting a lot of headaches, even with ibuprofen and Tylenol, it was not helping. I figured, if I could do something more painful, it would help me ignore the tooth pain. So I had a brilliant idea with my just mega mind.
Some major pain logic, I swear to God.
Yeah, so what I ended up doing is I booted up Doom on Nightmare difficulty to see, or Doom Eternal on Nightmare difficulty to see if that was more painful than my tooth pains. And I will say, it was fucking painful.
You forgot instantly.
I would have put it on Ultra Nightmare if not for the fact that you'd have to restart the run if you die once. Because even the first damn level was hard to get through.
Jesus.
Hold up, if you want like hurt, like if you like, I'm being serious. If you ever want to like genuinely hurt yourself while playing a video game, which I don't recommend, put the vibration settings on Elden Ring to the max, then like sync that up to like a butt plug, and then just go on from there.
I thought you were about to say just Doom Eternal on Ultra Nightmare difficulty.
No, we gotta plug it. We gotta plug in a butt plug.
Stop plugging in your Souls games.
No, we're plugging in butt plug jokes.
Elden Simp.
I'm gonna plug in some Flex Seal into your mouth to shut you up.
Yay!
But yeah, to deal with my tooth pain, I played Doom Eternal on Nightmare difficulty, and it kind of worked because I've never beaten Doom Eternal because after that Nightmare, I was like, you know what, I'm good.
That's such a base thing to do.
Eternal. And you're like, you know what? I'm just going to hop in Doom Eternal on Nightmare difficulty because I have tooth pain, even though I never beat it on normal difficulty because he hates me.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is, like I said before, once you get through that Hordes of Hell, it is really satisfying. But there was a lot of times because that was the first time I was really using mouse and keyboard as well, because I've mainly done console. So I was adapting to new controls. I died so many times.
God,
sometimes I was like having to say, "All right, Logan, don't pull a game journalist," because I'd be like, "All right, don't fumble the bag. Don't be a game journalist."
Don't be IGN. Don't be IGN.
Yeah, it was funny seeing reviewers cry over the difficulty of Doom Eternal, even on like normal difficulty.
Do you guys remember the Cuphead game journal?
Oh my!
I remembered. Dude, I saw a video of like someone comparing how fast their 4-year-old could complete the tutorial to the dude, Dean
That is
Takahashi, I think.
hilarious.
And the 4-year-old almost won, if not for the fact that the 4-year-old couldn't understand parrying. But still, they're 4.
Dude,
There's this one boss that's really difficult. It's this giant white slab in the tutorial level. Like, I'm really surprised they put that hard of a boss in the tutorial level.
dude, I'm not even gonna lie. Cuphead is one of those games that I didn't beat because of how fucking hard it was.
I still haven't played it.
How
I
the
want
fuck
it.
are you a Souls fan?
I don't know. I just Cuphead. Like I love Souls. Like it's hard and like challenging and all that. But Souls isn't a platformer. I suck at platformers.
I'd say that's more of a run and gun. That's not, Cuphead is
but
not a
there's some
platformer.
No, it's a
Platforming
No.
Yeah.
No, it has platforming elements, but it's definitely not a platformer, especially because
it's not
the
a
main
base.
focus is the bosses. There are some run and gun levels, but the main focus was always the bosses.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
literally what it was gonna be before it. Like, I remember when the trailer first, like, it was announced. And
Yeah,
there
it was
a bunch
all
of, like-
bosses.
yeah, and people were like, it just looks like it's a bunch of bosses, which it was. They added a bunch of run and gun levels.
Yeah. But we need to get back to shooters though.
Well, I mean, hey, you do shoot in Cuphead.
Cuphead's just technically a shooter in a way. But
It
Yeah.
is true.
But how about we move on, Connor? Since you were talking a lot, how about you go next?
Yeah.
Okay. The game I'm talking about is this, it's not as popular as Doom or whatever guy talked about. I can't remember.
Honestly, I just,
How
I
could
just
you remember
ignore,
Metroid
I ignore Guy all the time.
Yeah,
so even
I
though it was
started with-
Metroid, I'll give you a pass because it's Guy.
Yeah, my
Because it's
brain.
Guy.
I'm
my brain
underappreciated.
sort of like cancels out Guy after all the bullying.
I'm underappreciated.
Just whenever I hear anything from Guy, it's like the adults in Charlie Brown's like wah 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 wah.
It's just a bunch of white noise for me. It's just like
Damn it.
all right, let's quit being the guy.
I hear 2 seconds of Guy. I'm asleep. It's like.
Oh my god.
honk shoe.
That's terrible.
That's funny.
All right.
It was
but,
like
what game are you
POV.
talking
You're talking to Guy. You're just in bed.
about? Connor, what game are you talking about?
I'm talking about Neon White.
Is
That's
that
a game I
Connor?
never heard of.
So Neon White, it's as I said, it's not as popular as Doom or Metroid, but it's a first-person shooter that combines that genre with card games. And that might sound like a really stupid idea, but it's a really good fucking game. So
That's why it's good.
the main premise is that you play as this dude. I'm not gonna get into the story because the story is kind of really hard to explain without like
ass.
having 30 minutes. It's not ass. Fuck
it's
you.
ass.
It is not ass.
From an outsider looking in, some of the story bits, it's like, eh.
As an insider looking out, y'all are fucking dog shit.
I mean, there's just kind of some cringe moments, Connor. I'm not gonna lie.
I will agree there are a few cringe moments, but I like the cringe. It's like
I'm not saying the story still couldn't be good. I'm just saying that there are some cringe moments.
there are a few cringe moments, but I liked it a lot. It's one of my favorite games. But anyway, back on topic. The whole point is that you go through these little mini levels, sort of like old Doom. And you collect these cards, and each of these cards has a different gun. And when you run out of ammo for that gun, you lose it. Or if you use its special ability. The other thing about Neon White is that it's also like a platformer. So if you use the secondary ability of a gun, you get a different ability. Like if you use the pistol, you get a double jump. If you use the I believe it's the sniper, then you get a dash. And the whole point is to beat the levels as fast as you can with using these guns.
Yeah, I was about to say, doesn't the game have like a really big speedrunning community?
Yes, it speedrunning is literally built within the game because in order to get like enough points to unlock different levels, you have to beat it under a certain amount of time, which is why I really liked it because I personally have always wanted to get into speedrunning. So being able to play a game that literally has running within its I'm losing the word for it, but like
DNA.
yeah, DNA. Thank you. Like within its DNA, it was really good.
Because you'll watch people play and they just zoom through the levels in ways
Yeah,
you would never
I-
think of.
Yeah, I remember like trying to find different strats and stuff for that like all the time.
I love it when developers like intentionally like make speedrun stuff in their game. Like going back to Metroid really quickly, especially in the 2D games, there's something called sequence breaking where you get power-ups like earlier than what you need to. They're typically not meant to be like that, but in the newest 2D Metroid game, Metroid Dread, the developers did actually intend some sequence breaks for speedrunners, and actually there are like unique cutscenes and like different boss interactions depending on the sequence breaks that you've done. Like if you got the power bomb before you fight Craig, you can actually one-shot his second phase.
Huh.
Huh,
That's
That's
really
pretty cool.
cool.
neat.
Yeah, and it's actually a sequence break that I do all the time when I do Metroid Dread now, just because of how much fun it is, and also it's just an extra challenge that I really enjoy.
Yeah, that or I was gonna say like Celeste has it built into its DNA.
I was gonna.
Yeah, I took your fire, Connor.
Guys, let's be mean to Guy again. That was funny.
Oh my god.
just
Oh,
redirect to fire at guy.
I'm
This
just
man's
Twitter user,
copium
I'm
is
deflecting.
redirect everything to me. Holy shit. That's crazy.
It's
But
fun.
yeah, honestly, if you want, like, you could definitely play most of Neon White without even like firing a bullet. There are some levels where you have to kill all the enemies, but I'm sure there's a YouTube video out there somewhere of someone beating Neon White without firing a bullet.
Sort of like the Mario no jumping challenge in
Can
Odyssey.
you beat Mario, Jumpman Mario, without jumping?
Can you play Pizza Tower without getting an erection?
Can you?
Can you play the Garden of Banban without coming 20 times? Impossible challenge.
So
It actually is impossible. It's a minimum of 50.
yeah. Me and Liam are the only Garden of Band fans here, and that's a very true statement.
Don't worry, I'll support Jumbo Josh.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
Thank you so much.
But yeah, Connor, tell us more about Neon White, because like that's a game I've definitely been interested in getting into, like especially for the platforming, because that's something from at least from an outsider's perspective. Jesus Christ, that's the main aspect to why I want to kind of get it, is because it's a very unique take on a first-person shooter because it is a built-in platformer.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say now the platforming is awesome. Like the different like as I said before, the secondary abilities of the guns, like they're really good. You can literally like rocket jump with the rocket launcher in the game. Like you're just freely able to rocket jump. It's a really cool thing to do. You can bomb jump with some of the abilities of the other weapons. I think it's the submachine gun that has the bomb. And once you understand the fundamentals of how the game works, you are able to fly through levels while doing some of the coolest looking stuff ever. Like I remember there's these levels that are specifically designed to just make you do the coolest stuff imaginable.
That's awesome, man.
Also, the soundtrack to Neon White is one of the it's so freaking good. Like this might be because my brain like has like 15 like tennis balls bouncing in at once, but the music just scratches an itch in my brain. It's so good.
That's awesome, man. Kind of going back to Doom with like that immersion factor that like music can bring. If you ever want to, you know, have
Heavy metal.
we covered an episode about soundtracks and you know why they're good. Plug in.
We should have talked about Doom in that.
Dude,
Unfortunately, we were limited on time.
Damn it, you're right.
Hey, that's for next time. That's for next time.
Part 2 coming soon. I'm kidding.
Maybe. But yeah, that's something that's like really underappreciated, especially with like shooters, because it's something. God, I fucking hate to praise this. Call of Duty World War II.
Oh no!
I know.
You said something good about COD.
I hate to say it, but in the last like this is something really with like most multiplayer shooters, but like if you're playing like Team Deathmatch or like Domination or whatnot, the music is pretty good. I would say, at least in World War II, from what I remember, of like setting an atmosphere of like high pressure situations of like, hey, okay, the match is almost over. This is your last chance to win, or like if you're winning, like, okay, this is the last stand. Keep at it and don't quit. And I think
Battlefield also did a good job with that. So.
Yeah, Jake can attest because he's base.
I've sadly played too many COD games, or newer COD games anyways, so.
I'm out. But yeah, that's just a little side tangent I wanted to cover. But yeah, Conroy, is there anything else you will talk about with Neon White?
Yeah, I never do that again, or I'm gonna do a speed run to shoot you.
Y'all know Guy's old. He needs his time.
Okay, edit this out. I forgot the name of it for like a second. Edit this out.
Yeah,
You just want to be
edit
like
it out.
very productive.
Okay, going back in 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Connor, is there anything else you want to talk about with Neon White Man? Because I know you're very passionate about the game.
Honestly, play it. Just play it. Like, don't listen to what the others say. The story. Okay, I'll say this. Go into the story with expectations of it being a little cringe, but you will love the story. The story and the characters are great. I love every single one of them.
Play for the gameplay, not for the story.
Yeah,
That's why you play Cinnamon too.
Go in for the gameplay and not the story, but you will be pleasantly surprised by the gameplay, or not the gameplay, of the story and the characters.
The story isn't the main focus, but it can still be good at times.
Yeah, I liked the characters a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, with that being said.
And that's about it with Neon White. Play Neon White. It's not as expensive as Doom Eternal or Metroid Prime.
Actually, surprisingly
Eternal's
enough,
free.
Doom Eternal is very cheap most of the times. You can get it on
Game
sale.
Pass.
Yeah, I was about to say, get it free for Game Pass. Like, it's so worth.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm pretty sure I got it for like less than $10 with DLC because of a sale on Steam.
Yeah, I was about to say, Doom Eternal might be cheaper than Neon White.
Neon White's
Oh, it
usually
is,
around
it
20
is.
bucks.
Yeah, so Connor, get fucked.
I'm sorry, Connor,
Well,
but
my
you,
Metroid Prime one stands because there ain't no way Nintendo's ever discounting a game.
I mean,
Yeah.
hey, it's 40
Coming
bucks.
out.
40 bucks for Prime is pretty worth, in my opinion. But
Oh yeah, it could definitely be worse. It could definitely be like 60.
all right, but moving on from there, Jaden, you gotta tell us, man, what game do you want to talk about?
I'm talking about one of like most people's favorite looter shooter ever, Borderlands 2, but mostly the series as a whole. So
Go on, please.
So Borderlands 2 is one of the, well, let's just start with Borderlands 1, which I never played, sadly, but it started with Borderlands 1, then Borderlands 2. Okay. And Borderlands 2 was a game I played maybe 2-3 years ago, and I never got into the end game of it, and recently a friend, he wanted to get into the end game of it, so I started doing it. But so that's what I've been doing in my free time. But Borderlands 2 is a looter shooter. You go around, you shoot enemies, you go through the story. You're meant to play through the story like 3 times, which, in my opinion, it gets grindy, like playing through the story multiple times. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, as someone who's played like the Borderlands games as well, like it's a fun campaign to go through at first, but it's also like, okay, I'm just want to get through this shit.
It's tedious as hell.
It's pretty tedious.
As an outsider of Borderlands, I think the only thing I remember from it is just a guy that asks you to shoot him in the face.
I fucking love that side quest.
He's in two.
Shoot me in the face, please, 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 shoot me in the
Shoot
face.
me in the face!
You have to shoot me in the
Please, I beg you.
Borderlands has it's kind of like what the grunts started in Halo, where they have some of the funniest interactions, and it's so good. The psychos are so good.
So Borderlands 2, I think most people agree has the best story out of the series because everyone just loves the story of Borderlands 2. Mainly for the villain, Handsome Jack.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Handsome Jack.
Well, he's one of the
But,
best
yeah,
villains like ever.
Oh yeah, then there's the downgrade that's Borderlands 3 and the streamer villains, but
Literally, it's just Logan and Jake Paul. Those are the villains.
it is.
When you said Logan, I thought you were talking about me for a second. I was like, what the fuck did I do this time?
Borderlands 2 has a really crazy end game. So you play through the normal, like I said before, you're meant to play through the game like 3 times, and like has a really crazy end game, getting the best gear, doing insane damage. That's the main point of Borderlands, is just grinding up the gear and just going through the content of the game and just one-shotting everything.
Oh, talk about the build variety.
Oh, the build variety, insane. There is. Hold on, I have the game loaded up
There
right
is
now.
gun, and then you have bigger gun.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 different characters in Borderlands 2, and they all have different viable builds. Like personally, I'm playing Salvador. He's Gunzerker, dual wield guns, probably the most broken character in the game.
Yeah, just for that 2-gun aspect, yeah.
Yeah, like people would agree that him or probably Zero. He's an assassin. Let's say those 2 are probably the most broken in the game.
But yeah, talk about like what the
He's
build's
at
like
least
in
the most viable.
entail.
I never played a lot of Zero, but I know with Salvador or the Gunzerker, one of the most viable builds for him is just almost infinite Gunzerking, and you get an Unkept Herald. Guy knows what that gun is.
That gun is so good. Oh my god.
Explain the gun.
The gun is an explosive weapon, and you shoot out a horizontal line of explosives. I don't know how many projectiles it is. It's a shit ton of projectiles and just a horizontal line in front of you.
It's a sniper rifle too, isn't it?
No, it's just a pistol. It's literally a pistol.
Oh, it is a pistol. I'm thinking of a light. I don't know why, but I'm thinking of Lyuda from 3 for some reason.
Yeah.
The main reason I'm asking is because a game called Enter the Gungeon, which features a lot of guns. I'm pretty sure there's like a couple of references to Borderlands in there with the guns.
Borderlands has so many guns that there's gotta be a reference in there. But the best build for Salvador is probably a Unkept Herald and I think it's called a Grog Nozzle. Yeah, it's a Grog Nozzle.
Grog Nozzle.
Yeah, it's literally a gun that regens your HP and also applies slag. And slag,
broken.
yeah, slag is a element that if you apply it to an enemy, they take 2 times the damage, unless you're playing in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode. But then they get that gets jumped up to 3 times the damage.
3? Wait, hold on. It gets jumped up.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
like slag in Ultimate Vault Hunter mode is a must.
Holy shit. I did
That
not know
sounds like
about that.
incredibly broken.
Isn't it exclusive to Borderlands 2 though? That slag.
Slag? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah,
Or at least
it's not
this
3.
effect. Yeah. And then there's Borderlands 3, which me and Guy both can talk about.
That game is very, very good, but I do have problems with it.
Personally, the story, don't play it for the story. The gameplay, I love. The gameplay is a lot of fun.
God, it's so good, and it probably has the best like gameplay in this series. Maybe Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, but that's also a little debatable.
Yeah. We'll get into Tiny Tina's in a second, but Borderlands 3 has a relatively long story that's not really all that interesting after you played it fucking 5 times.
God, I hate the
But the
villains
first
so
play,
much.
but the first playthrough, you might enjoy it. The story is not the best, but you will enjoy the gameplay. It has some great in-game content. Like, the characters are all viable in their own right, which is something that Borderlands 2 didn't do all that well because there's Krieg in Borderlands 2. He's probably the weakest out of the bunch.
Yeah, I was just about to mention Krieg.
Yeah. Krieg, people dislike playing the Necromancer Gage, which I think she's good, but a lot of people dislike her.
Oh, and in 3, I played, what was his, the dude with the animals.
Flak.
Oh, Flag.
Flack.
Yeah.
I loved Flack because
Flak
he had
was
a
one
little,
of the- Oh yeah.
he had a monkey, and I like the monkey.
You'll
Dude,
like guy.
It's really unfortunate that like Flag is still pretty viable in 3, but like he's really just like you're gonna use him for like boss grinding. He's not that good for mob stuff, unfortunately.
Flak was one of the first characters that got nerfed in 3 because of how broken his fadeaway was, where he goes invisible for a short amount of time, and every shot after that is a crit, guaranteed. And he was one of the first characters that got nerfed because of how broken that was, and they nerfed him in the ground, and that just kind of ruined everyone's taste for him.
Yeah, and that's when people started moving on to like Moze and what's a siren's name? Amara.
Amara.
Yeah.
You know, when I hear the nerf into the ground, I just think of the like Smash thing. It was like, oh man, this character Bayonetta's really broken. Better nerf Greninja.
I was just about to mention better nerf Greninja. Holy shit.
Better nerf Greninja. Just to be safe.
Yeah, for viewers who don't know, because again, Smash 4 is pretty old at this point. Greninja was like a very broken character in the beginning of Smash for Wii U and 3DS, and yeah, he got the good amount of nerfs, but like a little too many.
Yeah.
He they got to a point where he was pretty balanced in the meta, and then like patches just kept coming, and he kept getting nerfed.
Was it like the same thing with Pichu?
No, Pichu only got one nerf, like one big.
I mean, Pichu's nerf wasn't nearly as bad. I mean, I know he's not as viable anymore, but still.
Yeah, Pichu got like nerfed, like hella nerfed in one patch. It wasn't one thing, which actually they patched it they patched it, and actually Pichu actually got some of those qualities back.
No, he had a second nerf where he got even more self damage, right?
You're right. Yes. See, that did happen. I do remember that. Fucking
I
Smash
remember
nerds.
stuff sometimes.
I relate so much to Pichu because I also want to kill myself.
Yippee!
But me and Jay have played so much of Borderlands 3. We love that game, and the content, the absolute juggernaut that is the content of that game is fucking incredible. Oh my god.
Well, I didn't even begin to get into Borderlands 2 content, but like a big part of this series is DLC. Like DLC of Borderlands is the best most of the time, anyways. Like Borderlands 3, most of the DLCs they were pretty good for the most part.
Yeah, I think the worst one was like the Handsome Jackpot, but even then, it's pretty fun to go through.
Yeah. I know the best one was the Bounty of Blood. I love
God,
that.
Bounty of Blood was so peak. Oh my god.
The amount of loot and everything in that was good in there, and plus the story, that was just great.
Can I explain why that DLC is like probably the best thing in Borderlands history?
Go ahead.
So, Bounty of Blood is like the third DLC that came out. I was extremely hyped for it because of its Western style. But the thing about Bounty of Blood is that it is a completely different story that has no connections with any of the previous Borderlands content, any of the plot, any of the side characters, nothing. They are all completely original characters, a completely new world, with a very good level design and a variety of places that you can go to. Not just that, but the lore and the story that is told in the DLC is pretty engaging in seeing how this town is being affected by like the crystals and the I forget what it's called, but the
It's been a while
that they're
since we
mining.
played. Yeah,
It's very intriguing. Not just that, but on the gameplay side of things, they introduced like a good amount of new enemy variety. Not just that, but every single legendary is good in some way, shape, or form, And no shit, a big problem with the DLCs beforehand is that the guns that were made prioritized one character over the others in terms of like build variety and like their viability. But in Bounty of Blood, there was a gun for every single character in that game, and their viability shot up. Like, all of them became really good because of the guns that came out. And it's so good. Such a good DLC.
Yeah, that's the best way to make people more viable. Just give them more guns. That's what Americans always do.
America! Fuck yeah!
You're skinny, you don't know how to fight. Well, I have a solution for you. Here's a gun.
You don't need to fight.
Here's a 44 Magnum.
But Borderlands, the main part of Borderlands is definitely the end game. Like you go through and Borderlands 3, there's only true Vault Hunter after you get through the normal mode.
Yeah,
But
it's pretty much new game
Borderlands, yeah, but in Borderlands 2, you get true Vault Hunter and Ultimate Vault Hunter. Ultimate Vault Hunter is what I'm on right now, and it's stupid hard. And that's not even the end game, because after that, you got the OP levels. And that's kind of like the mayhem levels in Borderlands 3. And it's just insane. I'm not even there yet.
Yeah, mayhem levels in Borderlands 3, they were modifiers that you could put on the game itself that completely change all the enemies. So, like, if you set it to, like, mayhem 10, then you would get...
Die
a lot, yes. But you'd get... Not only would you get, like, mayhem 10 level gear, but you'd also get, like, mayhem 10 enemies. So, like, there's a big risk-reward with the game. Like, it's very high risk because of how hard the enemies are, but the reward is so high because of how good the loot is when you get it. So that's something that I really enjoy about Borderlands, is that, like, in the post-game very much makes you test yourself.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you play through one normal playthrough of Borderlands, like, then, I don't know, you're missing out on so much, because the game is meant to be replayed over and over. Or
Yeah, I
at least
easily have, like,
two or
over
three
300
times.
hours in 3, and I still have not
You
done
have
everything.
300 hours in the game?
I still have not done everything. I swear I've only, like, done, like, I want to say 45 to 50% of the content in that game. Yeah,
That is absurd. Oh my god.
it is a massive game. Yeah,
Borderlands 3 has a shit ton of content to go through.
it's
Like,
so
all
big.
all the stories, like all the DLC stories, each of those are like at least 10 hours of gameplay, if not more.
Oh, that's not even including the optional content. Even speed running the DLCs is like 10 hours of gameplay.
Yeah.
It's so good. But yeah, if you got Jay, I'll let you conclude on Borderlands.
But if you ever want to play a mindless looter shooter that is one of the best ever, play Borderlands, because it's just, I don't know. If you want to play if you want it for story, play Borderlands 2. But I think the gameplay in 3 is better, along with the content. I think 3 is just an improvement.
Oh,
But not story-wise, obviously, because the story's just shit. But
Yeah.
the gameplay is just better. And plus, to mention this, one more thing. All the there's only 4 characters in 3, right?
Yeah, there's only 4.
Yeah, there's only 4 characters in 3, but they all have 4 skill trees. All the characters in 2, they only have 3. So you got extra skill tree in all the characters in 3, and just more variety for builds and just better gameplay. And we're not going to talk about Wonderlands, because personally I don't like Wonderlands all that much.
Yeah, Wonderlands was like that's a stick in the mud, because that game had a lot of potential, but they fumbled it hard. It's essentially Borderlands, but like it's like a shorter game, and it's like D&D, where you actually create the character and you create the classes, which, by the way,
I love that part. It was really
they
cool.
did that perfectly. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, the build setups that you do with the game, they actually did that perfectly. The execution of the level design, and the content in the post game, oh my god, they fumbled that so hard. It's crazy, because like the campaign and building your own character is the best part, but the post game is supposed to be the best part, and they fumbled that so hard.
Like I said, like the post game of Borderlands is so important, because that's where most of your hours are going to be going to. And Wonderlands didn't do a really good post game, so it died off really hard for me after I beat the game.
Dude, same here. I hate how hard that they got fumbled, because it had the best Best campaign. It had the best campaign, and I hate. Oh, that game pisses me off. But yeah, Jay, your concluding points of Borderlands.
Yeah. Just, I'd at least do one playthrough of it. Like, if you don't want to get into a crazy long end game, playing the game story multiple times, I don't blame you because I didn't want to at first either. But it's definitely rewarding once you get a max level character and maxed out gear and everything. It's satisfying.
So true.
Yeah. So, who wants to talk about their game next?
Yeah, I think we only have one more
I
person.
think it's just me.
Liam, it just might be you.
It is me, and I'm going to talk. I'm the last person, and I'm going to talk about the long history of Resident Evil. You know, that game.
Leon, please spread my cheeks. Oh my.
Now, let me bring you back to 1996 and the survival horror that is Resident Evil, the very first game starring Jill Valentine.
Before you do anything, can I just say one thing?
I'm not Guy.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's long day, overtime. It's mostly because I'm thinking of Guy in this. Liam, despite Guy, can you not talk about 4?
You don't want me to talk about 4?
Yeah, just
it'll
despite
make
Guy.
Guy angry. And like,
But 4 is the best one.
But
it'll
spiting
make Guy angry
Okay,
though, and that's funny.
no. Liam's gonna talk about 4.
I want.
No, 4 is the most important game in the series. He's gonna talk about it.
And I'll let you out of the basement for 5 hours.
Sorry, I'm good down here if I can.
We'll let you play Garden of Banban 4 early.
Wait, early? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about Resident Evil 1, 2, 7, and 8.
Oh my god.
All right. Resident Evil 1. It was a game where you were a star, which is a police officer agent, and you went into a house, and the house was filled with zombies. That was the
pretty
premise.
evil, some would say.
The residents of said house were pretty evil. It was kind of crazy. Leon actually says that on one of the games. It's like, I don't know who these residents are, but they're pretty evil. I guess you could
Does
call
he
them
actually say
resident
that?
I don't think. No, wait, hold up. What?
No,
I was about to say.
he does not say that.
I know that's a meme, but I
They
didn't
should
think
give
that was
him a
real.
line like that. That's
That's where it's at. Like me, guys, this has truly been our Resident Evil, hasn't it?
Yeah.
well,
but
that
basically,
just happened.
the first game, what it was you went into a house, or more like a mansion, and it was like a bunch of puzzle solving, going through doors. And when I say going through doors, I mean like a 20-second cutscene to go through a door, and it was awful. And also, it was when pointy boobs were still a thing in games.
Boobies. Shout out to Lara
Um,
Croft.
Yeah, shout out to Lara Croft. Jill is a little better than Lara Croft in that regard. In that regard of like,
All right, guys, we're gonna be doing a boob review.
Yeah. Anyways,
Gaming review.
Specifically,
and then
pointy
the
boobs.
second game came out, but I never played the second game because Capcom decided to make the second game, but like a majestic 10 out of 10 masterpiece, and the Resident Evil 2 remake, which went from a top-down, like kind of like top-down little like
Fixed camera.
horrible camera, that kind of stuff, like bird's eye camera type of thing, to a third-person horror game with the best setting in any video game ever. And you can fight me on this. I think that the Raccoon City Police Department is the best setting for a video game.
Oh, it's one of the best maps in any video game. It's perfectly
Yes.
designed.
It is the
Raccoon?
most Raccoon City. Basically, let me tell you the plot of the game real quick. Zombie outbreak occurs, and there's a slew of characters, but basically, there's a corporation called Umbrella. Ooh, spooky! They're shielding you from rain. That's what Umbrella does. No, they're a pharmaceutical company, and they make a drug, and it turns people into zombies, and so it turns the residents evil. And you're basically like usually a police officer of some sort, and you fight your way through zombies, and then later on you get like really crazy, like horrifically mutated things like dogs, a giant alligator that chases you through a sewage gate. When I say giant, I mean the size of like, it's like 20 Leon size. That's the metric I'm using here.
Yeah, the thing
Don't
is
worry
fucking
about it.
20 Leon.
We're truly being American today, not using the metric system, using random units like Leon
It
units.
was 50 hamburgers long.
Iconic villains: Mr. X, Wesker, Nemesis.
Liam, how many football fields long is Nemesis? I need to know.
He is about. I actually do not know. Nemesis
He's like
is.
1/12 of a football field.
He's probably like 1/30th of a football
Yeah,
field.
we're gonna go full on American today. Use anything but the metric system.
He's about 3 Remington 700s.
He's about he's about 29 millimeters long.
All right. Anyways, I want to talk about Resident Evil, not about actually Resident
Not
Evil
Dixon,
is in America. And it is in America, so take that. Some of them are. Anyways, the point of the game is it's a survival horror where you get a very limited amount of inventory space, ammo. You are in tight spaces a lot of the time, so you don't have a lot of room to dodge or weave. And these guys they're slow, but there are a lot of them. They will come after you constantly. Making sounds has a big impact in the game, where there are certain things that are certain enemies that are blind, but they can hear sound, or there's
Oh, the
certain
lickers,
things.
yeah.
The lickers in Resident Evil 2, like each enemy has like a specific thing that makes them difficult. Like you have dogs, which are fast as fuck, but they're not as resilient. So you can probably take them down in less bullets than you could like a regular zombie. Or you have the lickers because they can, if they hear you, you're dead. That's just how it works. You have the Mr. X, who is literally invincible. He just comes after you at any point in the game. Some of the best AI ever for like, unless you can. He's some of these.
Wait, didn't we talk about this in the horror episode?
We did.
About Mr. X not being able to get through a little door though.
He can get through a little door.
No, like
He
like
just
safe
has to
rooms.
crouch.
Like safe rooms.
He has to crouch.
Yeah,
No,
we're
he,
talking
does, he can go into safe rooms.
No, we can't.
probably
Yes, he
depending
can.
on
No, we can't.
depending,
Yeah,
maybe depending
Mr.
on difficulty.
Mr. X can go into safe rooms.
Fight.
No, that's literally not right.
That is true.
No,
In the original remake,
in remake.
just clarify, original or remake.
In the Resident Evil 2 remake. Okay, never mind. The only safe room he can enter is the
Yeah, it's the lobby. That's
the
it.
lobby. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but the lobby is like an open area. It's not exactly like a safe room.
Yeah, but it starts off as a safe room, and then unfortunately,
Safe
I
room,
win.
like Persona.
well, I distinctly remember him going into a safe room that was like different, and it like freaked me out when I played it. But it must have been a while.
He was there
Anyways,
for Leon's ass cheeks.
Resident Evil has some really good characters, and Leon S. Kennedy, Jill Valentine, Ada Wong. They're very cringy, and it's in the best way possible, where they have stupid one-liners like "Where's everyone going?" Bingo, the best line in any video game. You've got like really well-made villains like Krauser from RE4. I won't get into it, obvious reasons. Fuck you, guy. Wesker is a really good villain, but he's not really like. He was recently made like more relevant because of the games, because they're kind of redoing all the games. They're doing their chronology is stupid. They're doing 2, 3, 4, and then they also did 7 and 8 before. Resident Evil 7 came before Resident Evil 3.
Well, I mean,
That is a little confusing.
Well, you,
Not
is-
gonna lie.
It is very confusing.
wait,
but
when
anyways-
does 8 take place? Because hold on.
8 takes place after 2, because Chris has gone from police officer to special forces.
Yeah, because Chris he's in the plot of 8. I forgot about that.
Yes. Anyways, I'm now going to steer away from 2, because as much as I want to talk about that game, I want to get through and talk about 7, which was the best decision they've ever made, where Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6 were bad. They were bad games, and you cannot tell me otherwise. They were bad made games that did not do well. 6 was all right. 5 was awful. Anyways, they completely scrapped everything and went to 7, which was first person. It was 0 zombies, and it was in one location in Louisiana where you fight the creepiest people ever. And I have to search it up because I can't remember their name.
They're from Florida.
I was gonna say 7 would have been peak if instead of Louisiana they put you in like
Baker.
Los Angeles or something, or Ohio.
Louisiana was perfect.
I mean, I know Louisiana's pretty scary, but Ohio
Baker
though.
family. Funny Ohio. The Baker family is basically the plot of 7 is your name is Ethan Winters and you go to your house in Louisiana where your wife Mia Winters is, and you get there, nothing is right, and you find Mia and she attacks you and then throws her head against a wall and presumably dies, and then your hand gets chopped off, you get put at the dinner table with the whole family, and then they sew it back on. That is the start to the game.
And it's awesome.
And it's such a good game because it is the most horrifying one. You have Jack Baker, who does not die. You have Margaret Baker, who is like a spider lady. You have Lucas Baker, which he's kind of just like a human, but he's like psychotic. He's all right. Anyways, the game is horrifying because it is cramped. The guys will just keep on coming at you no matter what you do. You have such a limited amount. Like I said, the whole Resident Evil thing is you have limited inventory space, limited amount of ammo, and you can run out of that ammo fast, so you have to be conservative. And there is depending on the difficulty, you die in like 3 hits, and I recommend always playing Resident Evil on the hardest difficulty because that introduces a new mechanic, the ink, where your save is dictated by an item. If you don't have the item, you cannot save.
Okay, that's one thing I haven't really liked.
That's
especially because with how inconvenient modern life can be, just having to use an item for a limited number of saves. Yeah, I don't really like it too much.
That's why it's an option and not forced on you.
No, I know, but I mean, if you want to like have the hardest difficulty, you gotta do the save thing, which that's more of a time thing than anything. Because if you do the hardest difficulty after playing a bunch, at that point you mainly know what you're doing. So I think having part of it being, but you can only save a couple times.
That's why I recommend always playing it with the hardest difficulty first, because it adds so much to the game because of how you're like, I need to get to a save point fast. I need to save, but I cannot save too many times. So you use your saves, because a lot of people just abuse saves in games, especially Resident Evil, and it kind of it loses some of that like fear factor when you're like, all right, I'm gonna save, I'm gonna get this item, I'm gonna go back and save, so I now have this item and I can't lose it ever again. But if you have the ink ribbon, you now have to get that item, then you have to get the item, then save, and then you have it. But that now took away a resource from you, so you can't just grab an item, save, grab an item, save, grab an item, save constantly. You have to plan it out, and it makes the game a lot more scary. So that's why.
I'm sorry, you first.
That's why I think that the ink ribbon is a good mechanic that I hope will always stay in the game.
Does it at least have like a quick save option? Like, it's not a permanent one, but if you got to go to work tomorrow, can you put down a quick save?
No.
And if you die once, you don't go back to that quick save. You go back to the original save.
You have to look. I think there might be. I don't really know, because every time I would get off the game, I'd get off from a save because.
I'm just saying, because I know some games have options like that, not just Resident Evil, but if you're like, you have hard saves for like, a save room or something that save all the data, but then you just have a quick save that can only be used once, you load it up, that's it. You can't really save scum or nothing. It's just for, when life hits you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Look, to be fair, I think Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 4, like, on normal difficulty, is, like, pretty challenging, because, like, the game is not, like, they're not lenient on, like, healing items, and you've got to be really sparing with it. So I think the, like, being able to save as much as you want is fine, and especially if you're a new player and you use too much healing items, it'll punish you a little bit for that. but it also gives you the right amount to do well. So I think the ink ribbon you can do without it. I think I don't think you should really play the games on the first as a first time on the hardest difficulty, because that can really be off-putting to some people. But I see where you're coming from, Liam, like the tension factor.
But that's what makes the Resident, because and this is going on to opinion. The part of the core gameplay mechanic of Resident Evil is that item management and that scarcity of items, where you have to go out of your way to find more items. And if every enemy is taking like 5 hits to kill you, and you've got like 6 herbs and you can just heal, it kind of loses that difficulty. And I get that for some people they'd more like to experience the story, because they do have good stories and funny dialogue and some well-made characters. But I think the main appeal of the game is a survival horror game it should be difficult. It should be a difficult game because of the item management that not many games use. The item management.
I do get that, and I can kind of agree, because I've talked about it with like Elden Ring and other Souls games, which I hate to mention it because Guy's here. But
Elden Ring Souls game.
Yeah, because that. But because I do think games that are designed around that difficulty, you're kind of going against the intention of it by playing or having an easy mode in something like Elden Ring. Because a good comparison I always do is it's like you make a horror movie, right? But so everybody can watch it, you take all the horror elements out of it and not make it scary.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see. That's a pretty good point. That backs up my case. But
I do think it should be hard to some degree, but a hardest difficulty, that's a whole nother thing.
I do get what you're coming from. For some people, it should be like more accessible, where there's like a quick save, or where like if you exit the game. But the thing is, system mechanics have been making, or console mechanics make up for that, because you can play Resident Evil hardcore mode and have quick resume, so you don't have to exit out of the game and you can go back in where you stopped.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm just saying, I think normal difficulty still should be challenging. Like, still maintain difficulty. Don't give you like infinite items. Still maintain difficulty. But the hard difficulties, make it like the real nail biting shit.
That's good. But now I want to wrap this all up.
As long as it's not easy. As long as it's not super easy, I think it's fair.
When to talk about the best, no, not the best Resident Evil game. That's for my personal, not favorite, but just I had the most fun playing this one. 8. Resident Evil 8 takes everything you know about Resident Evil except for the gameplay, so not everything, but the story and everything, and throws it out the window, because you know what you got? You got 8 feet tall vampire woman who will step on you, and I want that. Anyways, let's go. And I
like that you can admit that, at least, because I was about to say, when you were describing getting stepped on, I was like, Liam, is there something you're not telling us?
If it's an 8 foot tall vampire woman, I would gladly have it. I'm just saying, I'd be Tom Holland for that woman. That's all I'm saying. Anyways,
Liam's down bad.
Anyways, it's a really good game with really cool characters. Lady Dimitrescu, besides all the memes about her, is a really well-made character. The Dimitrescu castle is a very cool setting. The whole setting is cool. It's like medieval Europe, but like you have guns. What more could you want? Where you're killing a bunch of werewolves, but with guns.
That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, but you have a castle full of vampires. You have a house full of living dolls. Where there's something I'm not going to say because some people have to play the game, and I don't want to take that. But there is one part of the game where they take away your weapons, and you are faced with something very frightening that is very grotesque.
You know about the dolls that move when you don't look at them?
Not that one. I'm talking about something else.
Your mom.
Let's just say it's very young. That's all I will say. Actually, I'll just say it's a fetus.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to say it, though, because it's a spoiler.
It's a fetus.
Damn it!
Well, thanks for spoiling it. I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like a small child that's screaming on a plane or something. That would be horrifying.
No, it's genuinely horrifying. And there's a fish guy, and then my second favorite character after Lady Dawntrust, Heisenberg, not
Heisenberg!
Walter White. Not Walter White.
Oh my
He is-
god! Walter
he's
White's in Resident Evil?
Oh my god, Liam, stop triggering guys.
Oh my god.
Stuff.
Like-
I want to put the duct tape on his mouth. Like, swear to God.
Who brought the kid with the bear backpack to Disney World? That's what Guy is right now.
I did.
Yeah.
Mention anything like Breaking Bad, Persona, Berserk, Souls. I'm like, what?
Guy,
Dude, that's where Guy's about to meet one of the actors.
Other issues that bases his personality after like Ryan Gosling,
So true.
Walter White, that kind of guy.
I am that kind of guy.
Seeing how I've met his dad before and he's a nice guy, that is kind of funny to say.
It is funny because Guy's like, oh, I love Patrick Bateman. I want to be like him. Anyway, back to Resident Evil 8.
I was going to say one more thing. Like, he's going to meet one of the actors for Breaking Bad soon.
Isn't it?
I swear to God, if that actor told him to bend over for him, he would probably do it out of respect for Breaking Bad.
I would ask why first. I'm not gonna. Okay, if Giancarlo Esposito were to go and say, "Get on your knees," I'm not going to do it. That's a little sus.
I know damn well you would get down and you would strip while doing it.
Sussy gussy.
I'm man enough to admit when I would get stepped on by an 8 foot tall vampire lady, but guys like,
I know how much Guy simps for Breaking Bad characters, and he would absolutely want his balls crushed by Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh my god.
My name is.
anyways, I'm gonna wrap Resident Evil 8. It's super fun, super different. It has really good boss fights. I will say that the backtracking can get a little annoying. That was my big pet peeve with that game. Was the backtracking. But other than that, really good game, good story, has some really good character progression, good plot twist that I didn't expect, and it was just beautifully wrapped up, and I cannot wait for the next Resident Evil game. I don't know what game they're doing. I don't know if it's going to be 9 or a
It's probably
5
9.
remake or something like that.
Resident Evil Deluxe.
Resident Evil 1.5.
Resident Evil X Garden of Banban.
That would make me come.
Dude, I swear they're gonna name it with like a fucking Kingdom Hearts things. Resident Evil 368 days over 2.
That's why I said Resident Evil 3.5. Because I was trying to do something with Kingdom Hearts, but I forgot the titles because they're so confusing.
They're so dumb.
Chain of Memories, Gay Mickey Edition.
Isn't it? It's like, yeah, one of them is like 358 over a half day.
Hold on. As the Kingdom Hearts fan, I will gladly help you pronounce this. We have Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts 1.5 Final Mix Collection, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Final Mix Collection. We have 300. Oh god, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. Yeah, you have to pronounce it like that. You don't say 358. I can keep going. It's terrible.
You are such a loser.
You are a loser, guy.
Exactly. That was
You get on people for Xenoblade 2, but you know like all the names for each Kingdom Hearts game?
Yes.
Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you?
Honestly, I think that's worse than
instead
me
of
liking the
mastering,
dialogue
the
in the
arts,
online.
I've mastered.
And the
Kingdom
stories are
Hearts.
so damn complicated too.
Yeah, why are you a Kingdom Hearts fan?
The combat's fun. What can I say?
Man,
Bro.
you're so easy to please. It's hilarious.
All right. Anyways, that's Resident Evil 2, or not Resident Evil 2. That's the Resident Evil series. Play 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. I think they're the most modern ones, and I think they're the most intuitive to play. You can play 1, you can play 5, you can play 6, do whatever you want, but play 2 and 2, 4, 7, and 8. Those are the best ones by far, and they are so good. And Leon can have my children. Anyways.
Looks like we have another Leon Simp as one of our hosts.
Have you played Resident Evil 4?
No, actually, yes.
you-
On the Wii. I have on the Wii.
You do not know what Resident Evil 4.
Seen HD Leon yet.
You haven't seen HD Leon. That first scene where he's looking at the window.
A lot of people
God
like ejaculated
damn.
right then and there.
I didn't.
If Leon can take down as big of a man as El Gigante, what can he do to me?
Real.
But he's not as much
shove
of
an
a man.
RPG up
He's
your
not
ass.
as much of a man as Jumbo Josh.
True.
Jumbo Josh or El Gigante, who did it better? Trick question. It is always Jumbo
It's
Josh.
Jumbo Josh.
Oh my god.
Anyways, I think that's it for now. I think we've gone far enough. No second game.
Yeah, no second
No.
game. Yeah, that's been a very interesting topic about single player shooters. I hope by this episode we have given you guys some recommendations about these games, because they're all very different from one another, but they all share the concept of like they are shooters and they're single player shooters, but they do different things with that. And I hope that's something that we really saw.
Something I should mention.
Yeah.
Something I should mention real quick. You can play Borderlands with your friends, but you can't play it solo. So
Oh yeah, it is
The
like
best way.
yeah, it is co-op.
yeah.
But yeah, I hope by this episode, some people's perspectives on the single player shooter genre has opened up. I personally love this genre. I think it is very, very heavy on freedom of expression with how you're able to create these kind of games and what you can do with them. Doom Eternal, especially being a very big game, and like how you can, there's a lot of expression with how you can just go about the levels. Resident Evil with its puzzle solving and it's just how you approach things. Borderlands with its build variety. Neon White with how you can platform in different ways and speedrunning. And with Metroid, and it's just how you get to explore around and do sequence breaks and whatnot, and just how you're able to express yourself in that way. But yeah.
And Doom letting you be violent.
If we get 4 likes on this video, we'll make a sequel video talking about more games and maybe why the genre kinda underrated. But yeah. With that being said, please, for the love of God, shoot that subscribe button if you feel like Leon's ass is just the right amount of tightness for you.
Oh, and
wow.
smash that subscribe button like how I want Lady Domitrescu to smash me to a fucking bloody pulp.
And comment how horny these bastards are, along with what shooter game is your favorite, specifically single player.
By the way, I'm
COD.
I'm gonna JK, not for real, not on God. Just putting that out there. I'm not this horny.
Yes, he is.
No,
He's only this horny for Jumbo Josh.
Jumbo Josh and maybe a little bit of Stinker Flynn.
Jesus.
He's
But,
got hentai.
with that-
He's lying. He's embarrassed.
With that being said, this has been our episode on single player shooters. Again, this is a very fun genre. I think it is extremely fun, and it's just good. But yeah, we hate COD, we hate Battlefield. Fuck those games. This
Battlefield's
is
pretty alright.
Shut up. I'm sorry.
The older ones.
Yeah, you want to
All the
mention
ones that-
Battlefield
The older
2042?
Battlefields are pretty alright.
You want to mention new ones? You want to mention new ones?
With that
No, you
being
don't. I
said,
know you don't.
with that
All right,
being
let's
said,
end the episode. Holy shit.
with that being said, this has been our episode on single player shooters. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.